Okay, so my dear ones, as I promised, here are the color rendering demonstration, how to render forms, three-dimensional forms, which we will then turn into the jewelry elements by color pencils. I have prepared a template of three-dimensional forms, as you can see, that's from our previous assignment. What I also did with a HB mechanical pencil. So what I also did is after that, once I drew the outline, I retouched with this soft eraser. And we need to do that because you have to make sure that the lines are very vague, because on top of it we're going to apply color pencils. You will need color pencils, whether normal color pencils or watercolor pencils. The good brand is a Faber-Castell, that's a good brand. Otherwise, any other color pencils will do. So let me just go step by step. First, working with yellow metals, we start with a basic yellow. And let me start with the cylindrical object, which is I need to shade in basic yellow. This way I will be imitating yellow metal such as gold or maybe brass, depends on your materials. Leaving the space in this area here, leaving the space for light. This area we're not going to touch because we are working on the white background. All the white is going to be the empty space. That's our whites. We're not going to use white pencil because the white is actually empty area, and that's what I did here. Next step is to switch to ochre if you have, and if you don't have ochre, like this one for example, it can be orange. The only thing with orange, we have to be very careful because it's a very vivid color, you see. So now identification of the shadow, and the shadow is going to be on the second third, just before the reflection. As you already know, reflection is lighter than the shadow and darker than the light. So this way you are imitating three-dimensional feeling of this form. But at this point here we need to add contrast, so I'm going to go ahead with orange, and the one was before that was ochre, now orange. And again, the first place I go is where the shadow is. When you're shading it, you have to then from the darkest part, then you apply less pressure on the paper so that gradually it will go towards the reflection or towards the light. Then I'm going to switch to raw sienna. This is raw sienna. It's not brown and not orange. It's kind of in between. So that raw sienna, then I'm going to apply again to add the contrast and the shine. If you want your jewelry element to be shiny, we need to add a contrast. Also, with a little touch of raw sienna, I'm going to slightly touch the corners, the outline of this form to elevate from the background. So now it's almost there. I just need to add brown this time. Sometimes you can even use black, but in this particular case we might not need it. And as you can see, the darker you go with the color, the less quantity you apply, and only in the areas where it is necessarily. So there you have it, and this way you can imitate a conical three-dimensional form. So next three-dimensional object is very important. It's the spheric object, or it can be half spheric object, which is also considered as a three-dimensional. We're going to do the same procedure first with the basic yellow. Now there's a difference between basic yellow and lemony yellow. I don't suggest for the yellow gold to use lemony yellow, just go for the basic one. And we do the same thing, but now you see the light is actually going to be in a left upper corner over here, and this area I'm just not going to touch by pencil. The other thing about color rendering is that color pencils are very difficult to erase. Therefore, we have to go gradually because if you went too dark or you went with your colors in the wrong place, it's going to be difficult to erase. That's why my suggestion, go gradually, going from light value like yellow into the darkest value, which is brown. I can also at this point add a little jump ring or little link here, which will turn this into some kind of a charm here. Retouching it with the raw sienna outline so that now it is a bell, which can be an independent piece or it can be part of your jewelry piece, like a pendant or maybe a bracelet made of many of those. Now, when it comes to cubic object, the shadows and lights and reflection will work slightly different. However, we're starting the same approach by covering first base, which is the yellow right here, and then this corner here, the facet of the cube, I'll cover completely. The top part I will leave white, although on the left corner of this facet just slightly yellow, and yellow again. And the darkest area is going to be in this particular corner, like so. You need to release the pressure, and all the shades and strokes have to be very gentle, and each stroke is very close to one another, and then less and less pressure as you want to release that intensity. So there you have it. Just need to add a bit of brown to make it more contrast, more shiny, and then you will be done with a cubic object. Just a little accent. You can see how hard I was applying. So there you have it. Okay, so let's play a little bit. I'm going to turn this conical object and add some decorative elements to make it look even more like a jewelry piece rather than being plain conical object. So first, a little bit of outline here. Here I will need to go back to a pencil to add an element. Let's say I want to put some kind of a stone setting, and for that, and if it's channel setting, then I will create a border, then step down and create another border, and then place my stone setting. So first stone, then prongs, second stone, prongs. At this point I will start to create ovals because it will shrink, you see, going away from your view, creating visual perspective. So this is what I have right now. I'm going to retouch it with a razor so that it will not look dirty, but still I can see it vaguely, and then work further, going back to yellow with my color pencils. Now, color pencils rendering is very good for sketching, but it's not so good for small details, because also, you know, you're working with a small piece. It's a little bit textury, as you can see. For sketching though, it's perfect. But for last one brown, just to give an accent. Again, very little in some areas. Here, corners, and you're done with the color rendering. Now the stones. Okay, let's review now what we can do with the conical object by transforming it. Let's say I have this conical object here, which I already prepared, and I want to transform it into something else. Let's say to create a spiral following the shape of the conical shape, right? So this is what you can do. Starting with the very top of the conical shape, you create a spiral. 1, 2, touch, go down 3, and 4. So there's somewhere here it will end on the bottom. Then double it. Step a little bit down. 1. Continued here, my line will become weaker because it's on the back. As it goes in front, stronger. 2, again weaker. 3, stronger. And then around the ellipse on the back, as it will come back then on the bottom, like so. So now we have this spiral, but in 3-dimensional conical shape. After which I'm going to retouch with a soft eraser, like so, and remove the border. So now it's no longer just a conical piece, isn't it, compared to this one. Then I go to the ochre, just to emphasize on the outline, leaving only positive. I can also let's say attach the chain inside of this conical object down where I can hang something like a stone or any other element. And there you have it. Here is something interesting I want to show you as well. Let's say we have two flat forms which are interacting with one another. How do we draw this in 3D? I'm going to draw ellipse diagonally, find the center and make vertical line, and then the opposite way I will make another ellipse. So you can see now how this already turning into 3-dimensional object. But to make a jewelry piece I have to add thickness, and that's what I'm doing right now, adding thickness. As it will go down, it will disappear, we're not going to see that. Same thing I'm going to do with the ellipse on crossing over. And this way you have yourself interesting 3-dimensional object, which then again retouch and get rid of all the unwanted lines, like particularly this one. Create a link. Maybe it will be attached with some kind of a bead. Maybe it's a probe. Let's put it this way. There you have it. Alright, retouch and ready to render. Now, one more thing what we can do. Imagine that now I'm going to create a negative space, so it's not just solid, but it has some negative shapes inside, like emptiness. 1, 2, thickness, 3, we will only see a little bit of it from left and right. There you have it. And ready to render. So now again, considering the light is coming from the left upper corner always, you can do now, I'm going to Pro. I'm going to, with the pose slightly different, shadows, first very light blue, then purple in the middle, like so, a little bit of gray so it doesn't look too colorful, very carefully. Okay. Outline as well. You can see the shine, and ink, white gel for the sparkling light spot. Same thing you can apply if it's applicable for your color rendering of the gold. Okay, my dear ones, I have completed the outline of the other shapes to show you and demonstrate how you can combine yellow gold with white gold, for example, or black rhodium with yellow gold plated inside, some negative spaces to cut out, or some cabochons to put on top of your shape. So I hope it was helpful. Any questions, any comments, please let me know, and I'll speak to you soon.